This time I'll call the meeting of the Haywood County Board of Education to order. This time I'd like to ask Mr. Jimmy Rogers if he'd lead us in the board prayer. Board members, will you please rise for the board prayer, immediately followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we want to again thank you for the opportunity for us to be here. Lord, we want to thank you for the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. We want to thank you, Lord, for our families, our children, our community, our teachers, our staff, and everyone involved that helps make up Haywood County Schools and help to make Haywood County Schools the best that they can be. We want to thank you, Lord, that we've been able to help educate children. And Lord, we pray that we can give them the best education possible. We know, Lord, there's been a lot of struggles lately and tough times and the pandemic and everything, Lord, involved, but we know that your hands are still upon us. You're still guiding us and directing us. If we turn our eyes towards you and turn our faith to you, Lord, we know that you can help us get through all this. Lord, please be with those that have suffered. Please be with those that we've lost during this time, Lord. Be with our schools, be with our children, be with our communities, Lord, and help this board to keep making the best decisions possible that gives our children of Haywood County the best opportunity possible to have the greatest education. Guide and direct us, Lord, in all that we do. We'll give you the praise and the glory for it all. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Please make note of our next regular board meeting. It's been moved due to the conference, this summer conference. It'll be Thursday, June the 10th, here at the Education Center at 7 o'clock. Also, I want to announce the 2021 graduation dates. Haywood Early College is this Friday, May the 14th at 7 p.m. at the HCC Auditorium. Haywood Community Learning Center is Thursday, June the 3rd at 4 p.m. on the HCLC campus. Pisgah High Schools will be Friday, June the 4th, 7 p.m. at Pisgah Memorial Stadium. Tuscola High Schools will be Saturday, June the 5th at 10 a.m. at C.E. Weatherby Stadium. Central Haywood High School will be Monday, June the 7th at 6 p.m. at the HCC Auditorium. I'd also like to announce that we will have a vacancy for the Haywood Community College Board of Trustees. Those that are seeking need to apply to my attention, and they need to be sent to me, Chuck Francis, Chairman of the Haywood County Schools Board of Education, mailed to 1230 North Main Street, Waynesville, North Carolina, 28786, or you can take them by the old Central Elementary School where the central office is currently located at 62 Joy Lane. The application deadline is 4 p.m. on Friday, May the 28th for that position. I'd also like to announce that Mr. Kirkpatrick would not be able to be with us tonight due to a family event that he wanted to attend with his son tonight. Are there any other announcements that need to be made? Okay. Are there any agenda adjustments that would be requested?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Building and Grounds has 3.
We have 3 items that need to be added to Building and Grounds, and we'll do those right prior to the Finance Committee report at 17, before 17. Please remind me if I get there and go over it. I know you will, but just remind me. Is there any objections to the addition? If not, then I'll ask for approval of the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Motion to approve. Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Rogers, second from Mr. Henson. Any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on our agenda, we have a lot of great recognitions tonight, and we'll lead it off with Dr. Putnam. You probably bring them all in.
Let me. Sorry for the delay, making sure to get this organized. There's a lot of folks that we want to recognize tonight. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to start off by recognizing our child nutrition workers. We've asked our cafeteria managers to come and represent their prospective schools. And just some outstanding work throughout the pandemic. Really large number, hold on to your socks. From the start of the pandemic through May 7th, we have served 1,709,059 meals to our community, to our kids, and so just a remarkable accomplishment. I'm going to ask them to come on in at this time. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. If you'll just line up through here where everybody can get a good look at you. We're so proud of you. You've done a fantastic job. I want to see you. Thank you for the hot dogs. You're welcome. So this would be what I call a dream team right here, and I'm going to repeat for their benefit. To date, these ladies have made sure there was not a kid who wanted a meal, didn't have access to a meal, and they have served and prepared and loaded in coolers and drugged and tugged and packaged and bagged 1,709,059 meals. So thank you, ladies. From the onset of the pandemic, they found a way to get the food out to kids on buses. They've heaved them over seats. They've rounded up coolers. You just cannot imagine the undertaking. And I remember the first day. Do y'all remember the first day that we were going to try to deliver them? It was pouring rain. And I looked, and not a one of them flinched. This is to include their entire staffs. And they figured out a way how to get that food through the rain and that cooler up over that front seat and get them all packed in there and make sure the kids were fed. So just a remarkable job. This time I'm going to ask Allison to come forward, and we have a little something, first of all, for you individually, ladies, a certificate for you, and then a plaque. It's actually a framed certificate that you can take back to your cafeterias, so that we can let everyone know we appreciate them. If you'll help, you want to say anything?
I would just like to say I'm so fortunate to have such a wonderful team of ladies and a few gentlemen. There are a few gentlemen out there to work with. They have rolled with every punch and have done anything that was asked of them, and they are all amazing, and I'm honored to work with you. Thank you. Mary Ann Schoaf. She's one of our bookkeeper, our support staff in the office, that while she might not have been out serving, she was helping get that claim reimbursement in and payroll and everything else, so Mary Ann. Okay, next. Yep. Okay, Sherry Kilby, oh, we're backwards, aren't we? Sherry Kilby, Bethel Elementary School Cafeteria. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, that's a really nice thick frame. Bethel Middle School Cafeteria, Karen Jones. This one, Karen. Clyde Elementary School, Luann Wyatt. Canton Middle School, Lisa Lawrence. Central Haywood High School, Sandra Connor. Haywood Early College, Robin Smith, she was not able to join us tonight. Hazelwood Elementary School, Barbara Bange. Johnson Valley Elementary School, Betty White. Junaluska Elementary School, Laura Livengood. Meadowbrook Elementary School, Pam Faulkner, sorry. North Canton Elementary School, Mickey Limbo. Pisgah High School, Shirley Presley. Riverbend Elementary School, Candy McCoy, she had to attend a funeral, so she was not able to join us. At Tuscola High School, Barbara Fowler. And Waynesville Middle School, Vicki Messer.
Just sit tight. You know how things go. With good leadership come good things, as is evidenced by all these ladies. Also, at this time, I want to recognize Miss Allison Francis as the National School Child Nutrition Director of the Year, North Carolina. Say something?
Thank you.
Short and sweet.
A woman of few words. She has also received a National School Lunch Program Assistance Grant in the amount of $88,984.44. So, in all of this, she had time to apply for a grant. So.
North Canton, Clyde, and Hazelwood getting some new equipment through that grant, so we're super excited. North Canton is getting a combi oven and a new steamer. Clyde's getting a steamer, an oven, and a combi oven. And Hazelwood is getting a convection oven. I miss them. And a combi oven. Awesome.
And still no deep fryers. I begged for them.
School is getting a new deep fryer.
I'll come
Just
see
not
you.
from the grant.
All right. Thank
Thank
you, ladies,
you.
all so much. Thank you. If y'all will kind of fill up that little nook there.
Come right here.
Don't be bashful.
Okay. How many bags corn? Two.
You need one of them haircuts. That girl I was talking to.
That was great news tonight to learn of Allison's accomplishment, and what a great accomplishment by our lunchroom ladies. What a great milestone. Next on our agenda, we have Principal Alex Mazzarelli.
Good evening, members of the board, Chairman Francis, Dr. Nolte, Dr. Putnam, Ms. Barker, and guests. When I first got to Junaluska Elementary, I learned that there were, in addition to 4 regular buses, 2 EC buses. And I didn't quite understand the ins and outs of all of those routes on the EC buses until I had to fill in and drive for a few times. And there was one person that never, hardly ever needed to call in, and she's right here, Dolores Rathbone, and she drove an EC bus and other buses for, on our certificate, we have 43 plus years, but Dolores and I were talking, and she has driven as long as I've been here for 47 years. So this year she had to retire. And I wanted to recognize her timeless dedication. On cold mornings when the gate to our school was frozen, they had to pour coffee over the lock to thaw it. Dolores would be there. And running all the way out to Max Patch, turning around at the gravel, day in and day out. It is an unbelievable route. I drove it a lot this spring, and it's amazing. So I appreciate her dedication to our school, to our district, and to all the thousands and thousands of miles. Dolores, thank you so much, and we appreciate you, and best wishes.
Congratulations, Mr. Rathbone.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dolores. Thank you so much for all those years. Thank you. What an accomplishment. Dedicated, for sure.
And that white oak route.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Ain't no
Next,
doubt.
we have Mr. Mark Shepard for some special recognitions.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this evening, we would like to recognize some folks that are administrators in the school system. You know, we have a tough time getting bus drivers right now, and we have a really tough time getting bus substitute drivers. So, used to, you could just kind of take care of your own school, and you were good. But now the schools are having to work together and really reach outside of them own selves to keep it all put together. And we have some super, super good administrators out in the schools I know y'all are aware of, and some of them really exemplify that, that mantra of, you know what, let's all work together. I'll take one for the team. I will reach out just beyond my own self and my own school. And 3 of those are here tonight, and we really came up with this award last year. And I have to credit Charlotte, who works in our office. We were looking for a way to encourage this kind of behavior, this idea of, you know what, we're going to help each other get through this bus driver crisis. So We call it lovingly the Lug Nut Award because, you know, you play a small role, but it's a really important part, you know, of a school bus. You don't have the lug nuts tight or you don't have them there, and you really can have some problems. It seems small and insignificant, but it's really not. And so that's where we came up with the Lug Nut Award. And these folks exemplify the kind of administrators we want in the county that really are willing to put themselves out there and help out in a lurch and help even other schools out. All three of these folks, they have gotten on a bus themselves and sent their substitute to another school to help out. They've gone to other schools themselves to help out. And you just don't see that a whole lot. And so to get through, you know, kind of the bus driver shortage we're in right now, that's what they're going to have to do to make it happen. So last year, we had already chosen Alex Massarelli and Jill. So if they'll come forward, we'll give them their Lug Nut Award. And this was before COVID. There you go. And for this year's award, we chose Amanda Watson. Thank you. All three of these folks are absolutely a joy to work with. They, you know, I don't know, they just exemplify the kind of administrators you want in your schools. They're willing to go above and beyond. And when we ask them to do things, they call, what can we do to help you out? They're always above and beyond type folks. So congratulations to these three. They are our Lug Nut Award winners for this year.
And Chairman Francis and members of the board and Dr. Nolte, and I just love to say this, and Dr. Putman and sweet Miss Barker. I never pass up an opportunity to have a microphone in front of me. But I want to brag on Mark a minute. I'm going to miss Mark Shepard. There was a time when it was flooded. We dismissed early, and Springdale Country Club I thought for sure was going to get washed away by the river. And Mark ran up there in his truck, and he reassured me that, no, you can get through. Just hurry, hurry, hurry. And he's driven for me before. And the other administrators in this room, but Jill and Alex, he's right. I can call them anytime and just say, and Angela at the Canton Middle School, I need some help. I'm stuck here. I have the stomach bug. I can't drive today. Can someone help me? So I just want to give a shout out to Mark for being a great leader. We've really enjoyed him. We're going to miss him. And to the other administrators, they're great to work with. And we have the best drivers ever, all of our schools. I mean, we are very, very blessed. I hope we can round up some more because we sure need them. So, but anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, I can't say the same about Mark telling me that it was okay. He did call me one morning and say, you got to stop those buses right now. There's snow in Canton and it's nowhere else. But anyway, he is great. We all call on each other. And I will tell you, my greatest accomplishment ever is driving a school bus.
Yeah.
Above and beyond anything else. I'm proud of that. But you get to know the kids. You know where they live. You learn a lot about them when they're talking in your ear behind you in the seat. You know, it is. Okay.
Good.
You're right.
I said, I've been called a nut, just not a lug nut.
Mask and all.
Great job.
Hope you get that thing out.
Next, we have Ms. Barker.
Chairman Francis and members of the board, these are my babies. I don't have a class anymore, so they've been my class. So I just want you to welcome the second cohort of our Aspiring Administrators Academy. This is them. We have had 7 sessions together this year, and Dr. Nolte charged me with that when he first hired me, and he said, I'd like for you to start a program and show people what this looks like and see if they're interested. And they have been a wonderful, wonderful group. They have asked some really, really tough questions. They have been interested in this. Their heart's in the right place, and I have loved our time together. I hate it's going to end. I miss y'all so much. So it's like I get to teach again, and anyway, I love it. So most of them are completed the Master's of School Administration programs. Several of them are enrolled, and a couple maybe even pursuing it. So here's some highlights. Dr. Nolte met and discussed micro-political leadership with them, and they engaged in an activity, his favorite activity, where you have all these scenarios and they had to rank them in order. And he loves doing that with them, and that was one of our first meetings we had. We had an early morning icy bus ride with John Austin as the driver on a 2-hour delay. And he did a great job. He's a great driver, but
We drove a little too fast.
I'm just old and nervous. But anyway, he did a great job. But we went to Riverbend and Haywood Early College that day and provided a substitute for them, so they were able to talk to those instructional leaders, Lori Fox and Jill Chambers. I had a great tour of both of those facilities, and some of them hadn't been on those campuses, and be able to get in the classrooms and see that. Mr. Hines and I gave him a crash course in HR do's and don'ts, and they grilled Mr. Hines. Did they not, Mr.? So Mr. Connor from Pisgah discussed the importance of school culture with them in regards to Standard 3, and described his experiences with culture as both an elementary at Clyde principal and at Pisgah now. Our 2 first-year principals, Mr. Haynes, Graham Haynes, and Casey Crook at Canton Middle, participated in a Q&A about how is it being a first-year principal in COVID. And so they asked some really good questions of them. In our last meeting last week, we met on-site at the Bus Garage and Maintenance Department, and Mark Shepard, Allison Francis, Josh Meese, Dr. Putnam, each presented about their areas and support services, and we toured all those facilities, and that was cool. Every time I go there, I learn something too. There's a parts room there. Did y'all know that? It's a parts room. It's like an auto parts. And so that was really, they ask a lot of questions. That was awesome too. I told them you got to keep learning. So those are just some highlights. They're great candidates for school administration. I just appreciate their willingness to learn, most of all what you've done in the classroom this year. I am so proud of each one of you to continue to pursue this and how hard you've worked. You've made a difference for our kids, and I love y'all for it. And so I hate to let you go, but we're going to give you a certificate. And I told them, I said, look, now when you're a principal, you might have to get up and talk in front of the school board one day. So I don't know if they'll talk to you or not or say anything, but they might. I don't know. They can do what they want. Okay. John, I got a gift for you. Dr. Putnam's got a gift for you. And then if you will, once you just go back to your spot. How's that after you come out?
Good.
Okay. Austin Chambers.
All right.
I just want to say that doing this, I didn't really know what to expect, but I was shocked on how much I learned, and I just appreciate Dr. Nolte and Ms. Barker. They did a great job, and I couldn't have asked for their classmates in it, and I was very impressed with the whole thing, and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Ashley Cooper. Oh, John Austin's at Tuscola. Ashley Cooper, Clyde Elementary.
Thank you very much for the time and effort you guys put into this. Appreciate it.
Lena Cope at Tuscola.
So much. And I just want to thank you all for just giving us the opportunity to learn through experiences. I know that this time has been a crazy year, but we have gotten out and just learned from going to schools, learning from you all, and just thank you guys so much for all the support that you give us.
Thank you.
Ed Davies, Waynesville Middle School.
Thanks, sir. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to be able to come here, coming from Florida and seeing two different districts and the way they're run and how supportive this board is and how the superintendents and assistant superintendents and everybody is supportive of all the teachers and the students. And it just really makes me feel like I'm really found a home to be able to here to continue to work in my career. And I just want to thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Courtney Myers, who was she was a student when I was at Bethel. Oh, God.
OLT.
Yeah.
Not bad. She didn't put them in order.
Sorry.
I just want to say thank you. I've always wanted to see the other side of education, so it was nice to see that side. Even though I love the classroom side, I'm excited to further my career and my education. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
DJ Kirby, Haywood Early College.
I just want to say it's a pleasure to work for Haywood County Schools. I'm not from Haywood County, but I've been here 10 years, so I consider this to be home. And you guys have been so welcoming, and I just want to thank you guys for all the time and effort that you put into this program. It's really an amazing program. Thank you.
And Stephen Sharp's not with us. He was also participated. Josh Simmons, Canton Middle School.
I just wanted to say thanks to Ms. Barker, Dr. Nolte, Dr. Putman. We had some really good sessions, a lot of good discussion, and got to meet some other future administrators in the county. It was fun that we can talk about things from our side and see it from the other side. So it was really enlightening to see other parts of the county. I just want to say thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Will Valentine, Tuscola.
I guess one of the joys of going last is piggybacking off what everybody else said. So thank you, and hopefully you'll see our faces soon.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get a picture, but I'm glad you heard their voice, and just applaud you for everything you're doing and setting your expectations and your goals high. I believe in every one of you, so I'd love having you. Okay, get up here and we'll get you a good picture, okay? And the gift is courtesy of Haywood County Schools Foundation for all your time and effort, so thank you.
Ask him if he comes over here. Scotty.
You take them off. Take them off if you want to. See yourself in the paper.
There you go.
Thank you. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. How are you?
Hey.
I remember that Will Valentine, he used to play youth basketball for Bill T. He beat me in half now a corner that shot out over in the left-hand corner on the light set.
Thank you, Ms. Barker, for that recognition tonight. Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Putnam with the middle and high school athletic recognitions.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it's my honor to recognize Waynesville Middle, the undefeated conference champions. And you've heard me probably say this before, but if you hire well, you'll make your life real easy. Here's a good example of a great hire. So, Mr. Chad Haynes, come right on up.
Y'all know why he said that? Because he hired me. So that's why he said that. And that's the truth.
Kind of figured that out. But
Yeah. Listen, it's an honor to be here tonight with you folks. I want to start by saying I really appreciate you guys. You shouldn't say you guys. I appreciate you all. And, you know, it's a thankless job, but the way you support the community and the children is just, you're owed a debt of gratitude. So thank you for that. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. Some of you I know and haven't spoken to you in a while, and some of you it's been more recent. I'm going to try to be brief because there's people outside, and Jim Francis here is saying there's no way, because he came to the awards banquet, and the truth of it is, like I said then, I could talk about these young men for all night and couldn't tell you everything I want to tell you about them. But I will. I'll tell you our story, a little bit of that, and then I'll bring them in and we'll introduce each of them to you. It was an honor to coach them. Coaches, a lot of times, if you've been a coach or if you've been a participant in sports, coaches speak in cliche quite a bit, and it's the whole sports world. They only know about 10 phrases, but I want you to know from me, and if you've been a coach, you know what I'm talking about. They mean those things. When a coach tells you these kids are special, when they tell you this group is special, it doesn't have to be a group of championship kids. The coach means that, even if he says cliches like, I'm never going to forget this group, or this group is great. So I'm going to probably use some cliches over the next 4 or 5 minutes, but I'm going to try to stop when I do, make sure you understand that I think even more of that about those things about this group of kids. So this group is probably the one I'm closest to. When Mr. Putnam hired me, I got a chance to come and coach at the middle school with the first group I'd ever coached at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I was a youth coach before. And this group I probably spent the most time with. 3 of them, I don't know if they're all here tonight, I've coached since they were 6 years old. And I didn't coach them every year, but I started with them then. 5 of them I coached again as 8-year-olds. And then it kind of built from there. We knew they were great. Back then at 8 years old, we were undefeated. We lost to Irwin in a playoff in youth football. And had we won that game in 2015, we would have had a chance to go play West Henderson for what's called the Super Bowl of youth football. But we didn't. We got beat by Irwin. We were heartbroken about it. We were undefeated at the time. We had beaten Irwin earlier in the season. But for this group of men, at least for those 5 kids and what we were going to build, we basically hit the pause button because we fast-forwarded 5 years and got a chance to play West Henderson in the championship at middle school. So our season started off like a lot of other, you're going to hear coaches come in and say it was difficult because of COVID, and it was. We started last June, like we always do, and we didn't know if we were going to have a season. It was difficult for us. As you know, we had kids at cones, stretching at cones, and we went through probably 1,000 of those little water bottles. They were drinking water at their cone and stretching at their cone and trying to maintain distance and still get something done. We didn't know whether we were going to have a season or not at that time, but we knew that kids needed to get out and that we needed to, we didn't know what we were going to do for the time, but we knew we wanted to be together. So we decided to go ahead with it. And then when we found out that the season was going to be moved, we had to meet and decide what are we going to do. And we still felt that the kids, the ones who weren't participating in basketball and that, they needed something to do to keep them active and to be outside and to be together. So we committed to it, and probably at least 3 days a week, we were doing something with the kids all the time. When January, February rolled around, it was time to do preseason, which is an odd thing. We started football in earnest. I think we practiced one Friday night. I don't remember the date, but it was 23 degrees outside up at CE Weatherby, and we persevered through that and finally got into the season. We had, all the troubles that everybody had. We had to try and ration tickets to start with and come up with a ticket lottery and deal with all that besides football. So I didn't know what that would mean for us, long term in the season. I didn't feel like we had enough time to prepare them to be as great as I knew they could be. We knew coming in that the kids I'm going to introduce you to, some of them, they're stupendous athletes. We felt like everybody's going to have a tough time stopping us. But honestly, we didn't know at the time if we'd be able to stop other people. We lost probably the best line I've had. We sent them to Tuscola. We didn't have a preponderance of big athletes. We had kids that could run around. You can't tackle them in a phone booth. But we lost some big athletes, kids that are big and can move. And we didn't know, but kudos to some other kids that stepped up, kids that were on the fifth quarter team for us last year. And these are kids that'll tell you something about them too, that have played a lot of football in their life. And when I go to them and say, look, your role for right now is on the fifth quarter, but you need to go down there and learn some leadership skills and sharpen your skills. It's hard for them, but you have to have that conversation with them. But those very kids are the ones that rose up that kind of lifted us to our maximum potential. The defense that we didn't know what we would be. We knew people would have trouble stopping us, but we didn't know if we could stop anybody. And it took us a little while to get our footing. In the first game we played against Bethel, I'll say this too, Bethel is the second best team in our conference, and that's both sides, East and West, so kudos to them for that. They're better than everybody over in the East, and we're second best overall. But they gave us a tough time. Our defense allowed in that game 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I think it was 6 first downs. And so we're still trying to find our footing. Somewhere between that Bethel game and the next game, we kind of found our spot. And for the next 4 games after the Bethel game, before the championship game, the starting defense, we gave up a few more yards, when we were spelling kids. But in those 4 games, we gave up a total of 42 yards and 4 first downs, no touchdowns. So when you're playing football like that, you're going to win a lot of football games. In the championship game, this group, they gave up 35 total yards, 1 first down, no touchdowns. And I told them, and I can't tell this story anymore, ever probably. I've coached in several championships, 3 in a row before this, and all 3 games combined were decided by a total of 4 points. So I keep preaching to them, hey, it's a championship game. You're going to play the best, that you've got from the other side, and you got to be prepared to give them your best. And they really showed out in that championship game and really all season. I'll tell you one last thing about them that I'm most proud of. Each year, one of the things we work on with kids are goal setting and trying to determine what they want to get out of it, right? I mean, if you take snapshots of kids wearing baseball hats, every one of them's got the number 1 finger stuck up. And if you ask kid, what are your goals? They're going to say, well, I want to win the Super Bowl, right? And that's the first thing they say. And we try to go beyond that a little bit and encourage them to set some individual goals and then come together as a team and set some team goals. And I always preach to them a little bit that really spend some time with it. And I like goals that are progressive. I like to be competitive in the county. I like to win the West, and I like to win a playoff game. And I don't want to give them their goals, but I try to steer them that way. I don't want them all to write down, we want to be champions and all that. I like for it to be progressive. But this group of kids was the first I've had that they said they wanted to be champions, and they wrote it on the board. And it's the first time, and so we stopped for a minute, and I kind of went around and got them all together, and I said, I'd like everybody here, if you've played in a championship game at Waynesville Middle School in any sport, any way, raise your hand. And probably about half of them raised their hand. And then I said, if you've won a championship in any sport at Waynesville Middle School, keep your hand up. All the hands went down, and I said, so here's the thing, I'm fine with you putting it up there. I'm not, it just means we're going to be different about this thing. And I said, now the question is, what are you going to do different every day? How are you going to prepare? It's different than what got you to your hand being raised for playing in one to actually become champions. And they bought into that really from that day, and the effort and the hard work that they displayed, their ability to pick up the concepts we were trying to teach. If you read the article in the paper, it's the first time we've had a team that the entire playbook was open. We could run any play we wanted to run at any time. And it's just, a great honor to be their coach, and I'm going to miss them like always. I said I wasn't going to say too many things cliche, but this is the best group. I'm not going to coach a better football team. I hope to coach one that's as good. I will not coach a better football team than this group right here. So I want to introduce them to you one at a time. Okay, is this the same order? I hope so. Okay, good. Yeah, I see how you say it. Yeah, I know. You know what I'm going through. I don't have my glasses on, but this is good. It's okay. I can still read this little one too, just for the record. You can hand them out. I'll read their name. I'm going to. So we're going to recognize them right here. I'll tell you a little bit about them, and I'll try not to be too verbose about it. It's hard. I'll tell you that. Sawyer Ballou. Come in, Sawyer. Gavin Lane. Thanks, Gavin. Walker Bryson. Evan Connor can't be here tonight. Also, we've got them all over the county and other counties. I just left Madison, and some of the wrestlers made it back. I just barely made it back. We're playing a doubleheader baseball right now, and we got kids competing in track and all that, so they couldn't all be here tonight. Mason Clark. David Bowman. Colt Nelson. Bryson Haynes. Julius Alberon. Dustin Moore. Sorry. John Frazier. Zach Rathbone. Avery Messer. Ben Frazier. Bridger Jones. Traven Gutierrez. Mason Rathbone. Easton Edwards. Tanner Boger. Sam Decker. Amos Rich. Luis Ledesma. Aiden Tucker. Cannon Gentry. Sam Calloway. Danny Garcia. Oh, I'm sorry. Sam. Okay. Let's see. Candidate entry. Danny Garcia, Lucas Reinhardt. You and that? Is he? Okay. Cameron Hall. And Ethan Reese. Last Coach Ed Davies. The rest of the staff couldn't be here tonight. Leander Dumas and John McClellan and Eli Woody and Andrew Wantz couldn't be here tonight, but obviously a big part of this. And our team moms, you guys raise your hand. Miss Misty and Miss Amanda, these guys are awesome. Everything that we needed, we had, and that's their wife. So I appreciate you guys having us, and it's an honor to be here with you. And we hope to come back. Hope to come back under the same circumstances, Lord willing. All right?
Coach, hop up there and let's get you with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Parents, come around. Come around and put a good one. We'll get the other one. Y'all spread out, boy. This half is going to our state. Yeah, you said, come be on the middle. Come be on the middle. Great job.
Congratulations, Waynesville Middle School, undefeated football team.
Hey, step down off that step. Oh, excuse me. Stay put. Stay put. Everybody get Good job.
Be a lot more pictures than I thought.
See what happens when you popular like that? I mean, come on.
Half of them's got their mask on now and half of them don't. But she's got to move back to the future.
Great job. See you, Jim. Great job. Very proud to watch you play. Thanks for having us. Congratulations to the Waynesville Middle School football champions, undefeated.
All right, good deal. Next, we have Waynesville Middle School Sportsman Club. I'm going to ask Brandon Sutton, Coach Sutton is organizing them out there in the hall. All right, Coach Sutton, come right on up to the mic, sir.
Come on in, Carly. How y'all doing tonight?
Very good.
I'm Coach Sutton. This is my daughter, Carly. She's also helping us coach now. We coach the Waynesville Middle School shooting team, and we also coach the Tuscola shooting team at this point. Okay? This year, due to the COVID, we had two teams go from the Waynesville Middle School, compete at the regionals level, and this year, because of the COVID, they only took first place, allowed that team to go on to compete at the state. So my high school team didn't get to go. Neither team, we had a gold and a black team. So neither team got to go this year. And at the middle school level, we had a gold and a black team also. And our black team successfully went to regionals and placed first. So they got to go on to state. They were the only one that actually got to go on.
Great.
And they done very well at state. At this time, I'm going to read their names out. And my daughter is also going to tell you, their awards in just a moment. I'm just going to read their names real quick. Dustin Moore, Mason Clark. Just have them come right in here and stand a minute. Samuel Hyatt. I'll scoot right up here, guys. Right on up through there. Samuel Hyatt's not here tonight. Aiden Cook. Part of your football team, too, looks like. Bridger Jones. Riley Creasman, he's not here tonight. Brandon Ramsey. Jesse Plott. And we had one more, and his name was Hunter McCreary, and he's not here tonight. Now, Coach Carly is going to go over some of the places that we placed and some individual, what they won. Okay?
So our black team, these kids up here, at the regional level, as a team, they won first place archery, second place team shotgun, second place team hunter skills, second place team rifle, and first place overall at the regional competition. Then individuals at the regional competition, we had first place individual in archery was Mason Clark. Second place individual in archery was Brandon Ramsey. Fifth place individual in archery was Caden Cook. Then in rifle, second place was Samuel Hyatt. Fifth place was Isaiah Hyatt. And then hunter skills, we had fifth place Caden Cook. And overall individual, we had Mason Clark got second place.
That's a pretty big deal overall because you have to shoot all three events. Place second, against your district, that's a pretty big deal.
Then at state, as a team, they won second place in archery, second place in shotgun, fourth place in rifle, and then fourth place overall. So we just barely missed the podium. And then individuals that landed on the podium at state was in shotgun, we had second place Bridger Jones.
He tied for first.
Um,
They tied for first. And this year, instead of having a shoot-off for shotgun, they had to go by their hunter skills score because it was actually virtual tournaments. We traveled to Andrews, and it was a virtual tournament. So we wasn't able to have all of the 200. In other words, shotgun, you have to score a perfect score of 200 to go on. He did that. He did not score high enough on his test. He placed second. That was the only deciding factor. He was actually first place, but if we'd had a shoot off, I'm sure he would have still been first place.
I do too.
And then in archery, third place was Jesse Plott, and first place individual archery at state was Brandon Ramsey. So that was all of our accomplishments this year.
You want to go ahead and give it to him right here? Come on, get your certificates. She calls your name. Ronnie?
Hey,
Buddy, how are you?
no reason to go back and forth.
Hey, guys. Get up here and take a picture. Get up here and take a picture. I can't figure it out either.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, y'all.
All right.
Thank you. Go to the other side. Hello, man.
Hey, y'all can take your mask off.
I'll take your mask off for this picture. Are you sure? Might want to cover it back up. Yeah. Good job, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. I hadn't seen Brandon. Wow. Seen Brandon. Wow. Is he still great? Still do great.
Congratulate Brandon. I told him. It hurts to not stand up here and do all that for Bethel, but I'll enjoy this year because next year would be different. No, congratulations, Waynesville was a great year, right, Brandon? We had a individual this year for Bethel Middle, sixth grader. He won District 9 22 rifle team. So Caleb Glantz, Brian helped us coach. Mike Frazier helped coach with Bethel this year. We were really, really young. I ended up shooting, I think, 4 or 5 fifth graders. We opened it up. I only took kids who were used to the firearms and shooting and that sort of thing. So I took a little bit different scenario this year. So I'm really excited about what we've got next year. Caleb's a sixth grader. As far as I know, I've done this 9 years. David's done it 11, 12, 13, 14. We've never seen a sixth grader win an individual rifle. So pretty good accomplishment for Caleb. I'm proud of him. And we actually won District 9 22 team. So we wanted to recognize Caleb today. So congratulations, Mr. Caleb Glantz. Dr. Nolte and all your support, the board, for our program, I appreciate your support. We are seeing a lot of scholarships come our way. Even in the district, there was a guy from Murphy, got a full ride to Akron, Ohio.
Wow. That's great.
Get a lot of notifications, a lot of recognition in our area. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Chad, Brandon wanted you to know that, make sure you remember Caleb started out at Waynesville Middle.
Caleb did great, he did. That's great. Caleb come in.
Thank you everyone for having us tonight and coming in and being able to recognize these kids. We just got one tonight with the middle school. We didn't do a team this year because of COVID. We just couldn't do it. We couldn't make it happen with the coaches. We didn't feel comfortable enough with the younger kids and not being able to be close to them. And we're not as fortunate. Chad's got a real good group of parents this year that could help and be close to their own kids, and we couldn't do that. So we decided not to do the middle school, but we did do Pisgah. So we shot good at regionals, just not quite good enough. I think we won rifle, second archery, and second shotgun maybe, but didn't advance to state because you had to win it this year. But what we did have was Caden Carson. Caden, talking about youth, this is Caden's first year at Pisgah. He's a 9th grader. He won district rifle with a score of 197? 196. So he missed a dot the size a little bit smaller than a dime 4 times at, what is it, 50 feet? For regionals. So won it by, second place was Pisgah too, wasn't it, with the 195. But advanced on the state. I sent him, funny little story, I sent him a text the other night and told him we was recognizing him tonight. He asked why. And I told him because he won district, and he said, but did you see my state score? I told him we wouldn't talk about that. But we had a rough state tournament with these guys. They shot early. It's a couple of Saturdays ago. It poured the rain in Andrews. They got to shoot in the rain, but hey, he's a 9th grader. Congratulations. He'll be back for the next 4 years or 3 years. So, again, thank y'all for your support. I can't say this enough. The support that we as hunter safety teams get from the Haywood County group, everybody's jealous of us. Thank y'all.
Come on, David. Take your mask off.
It don't hurt you to get a picture made once in a while.
Me, it was a horn at you the other morning. Every morning I come through there, I see you turn like that.
That's all right. That's all right, man. Good to see you, man. Old David. He likes to blow his horn at us walking about 5:30 in the morning. Go, nah.
Is that all the recognitions? That's it? Okay.
Another good round of why Haywood County's the best.
I love those recognitions, especially now that we can do these in person and see these kids and recognize them for what they're doing. Okay. We have had an individual sign up to address the board tonight in open session. Now is the time period designated by the Board of Education for public comments. This time is set aside for comments from the general public in regard to matters of concern to the public. However, comments addressing specific students and/or personnel are prohibited due to confidentiality laws and regulations. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board requests that all speakers adhere to the time limitation and prohibition against mentioning individual students and personnel. We have Ms. Stephanie Bell has asked to address the board, and you've got 3 minutes, Ms. Stephanie. Thank you.
I'm super nervous. Okay, guys, my name is Stephanie Bell, and I am a parent of a student at Bethel Elementary School, kindergartner. This is first year. I'm really concerned about the fact that we have our children in masks. Under 12 years old, the chances of them catching the coronavirus is literally slim to none, which is a blessing for us. Thank God. I know that Governor Cooper has pushed a mask mandate on us, and the CDC recommends, but a lot of people don't understand that the CDC is funded by Bill Gates, Pfizer, and this helps them. I want you to know that worldwide, from March until May, from the age group of months to 17 years old, there has only been 282 deaths in the entire world. These children normally have at least 2 underlying conditions to begin with, is the reason why they're deaf. The average age of the death from someone with COVID-19 varies around the age of 79. 5 doctors in Germany have tested 25,000 school-age children and have shown masks actually do harm them, physically, psychologically, and even behaviorally. 68% of these children were affected with health issues, lots of headaches, migraines, 29.7% shortness of breath, 26.4% of these children had dizziness spells, and hundreds were reported in accelerated respiration, tightness in their chest, weakness, and even passing out. I have done extensive amounts of research on this. It really hurts my heart to see my son, 6 years old, go to school every single day having to wear a mask. I've sat in this room and I've watched every one of you touch your mask. Every single one of you. None of those masks are even worth it anymore. The whole point of it is to protect you, is what they say. But the microns are so incredibly small that they go through every one of these masks. So if anybody in this room was in danger of getting COVID, you're already there. Our children need to see people's faces. They need to be able to understand what people are saying to them. It's important to see words. I want the mask off of our kids. And I'm gonna keep on coming back here every month and try to get as many people as I can to come with me. I have information I have printed off here that has multiple sites that you can go to that shows why these masks are harmful for our children. Over the age of 12, I can understand, because at that point they consider you an adult. But our children that are under 12 are not susceptible to COVID-19, and I don't feel like they need to wear a mask every day. Thank you. And I'm gonna leave these here if anybody would like to look at them.
That'll be fine, Ms. Bell.
I really would appreciate it if y'all would take that information.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm dropping everything. I'm sorry. I don't public speak very often. I was a student in Haywood. I know Mr. Nolte, actually. I think you were maybe my principal of phys ed, or something. Maybe the assistant. Maybe the assistant, yeah. Was he a good one? Of course. And I was an excellent student. Just so you know, as you can tell, I do my research. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Board members, you've had an opportunity to look and read the April 15th closed session minutes, the April 19th closed and regular session minutes, and the May 3rd special called session minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Mr. Henson's made a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do I hear a second? Second by Dr. Rogers. Any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Next on our agenda, we need to approve the folks that are getting ready to go to the Summer Leadership Conference for training. They're listed below as Mr. Burnett, Mr. Clark, Mr. Henson, and Mr. Kirkpatrick. We need a motion to approve their attendance at the Summer Leadership Conference.
So,
Dr. Rogers made the motion, second Mr. Rogers. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask, is the space is limited, right? But there's a possibility of it opening up to other members, correct? Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. So I would like to amend the motion to, if anyone else would like to go in addition to the 4 people going, that they would be approved to go as well.
Okay. Is there objection to that?
If there's space that opens up.
Is there any objection to that addition to that motion? No. Okay, we're going to just let it go as forward. Any other questions or comments on the motion? I will make a comment. I was on the School Board Association Board of Directors meeting Friday, and there is talk if Governor Cooper changes the rules that they may increase the attendance, but you may have trouble getting a room because they don't have any more motel rooms in that block set aside, but you might be able to go. Okay. Any other comments? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, I think, is Ms. Stevenson going to present coming in, okay?
Sir.
She's going to come in remotely. I see you, Brandy.
Oh, good. Chairman Francis, members of the board, staff and guests, I bring to you tonight a contract amendment for the Winston-Salem Industries for the Blind. You have already approved a contract earlier in the year to provide orientation and mobility services to our students with visual impairments. And this is amendment to that contract to add on additional hours. We've had to make up some services due to COVID, some services that were missed, and we need to make those up by additional services now. If I could get your approval, please.
Okay. This time we entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Burnett's made a motion to approve the contract as amended. Do I hear a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nesbit. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. Next, we have Dr. Putnam with our policies.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, today or tonight we have before you 4 policies for first read. The first policy is 4600. It revises the second and third paragraphs to require publication of student fees on the school system website as now required by law. It updates a footnote. Next, you have policy 5070/7350, public records retention, release, and disposition. Adds a sentence to section A to reflect change in law requiring reports received pursuant to General Statute 135-8 relating to employees who may trigger pension spiking rules to be treated as confidential. Policy 7230, discrimination and harassment in the workplace, revises Section E to remove implication that discipline of person who makes a false statement would constitute retaliation, reprisal, or OCR feedback. And finally, for first read, Policy 7335, employee use of social media, modifies the policy to be consistent with Policy 4040/7310 with regard to the use of video conferencing platforms to communicate with students. And subsection D10 deletes reference to repealed policy and adds references to new PLS policies.
These 4
Those 4
policies will be.
policies are for first read.
Okay, so these 4 policies will be tabled until our next regular board meeting for public input. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And then for second reading is policy 3460, which is graduation requirements. Policy 3620, which is extracurricular activities and student organizations. Policy 4001, equal education opportunities. Policy 4040/7310, staff-student relations. Policy 4400, attendance. Those are your policies for second reading.
Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve these policies as a second reading, and I've heard of no input on them.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Rogers. Do I hear a second for the approval? Second, Mr. Clark. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Putnam.
Thank you.
Now, I'm not supposed to forget, Building and Grounds has got several items I need to bring to us, and they're going to present now Dr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item that we want to bring before the board is to address the excessive groundwater issues on the home side of CU Weatherby Stadium. Building and Ground brings forward a motion to conduct surveying and geotechnical mapping to understand the extent, the source, and potential solutions to this issue.
Okay. We have a motion from Dr. Rogers. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Francis. Any question or discussion on the motion? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, the second motion is to approve the maintenance department purchasing the skid steer at a cost not to exceed $45,000.
Okay, we have a motion from Dr. Rogers. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second of Jimmy Rogers, Mr. Rogers. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, we bring forward as Building and Grounds a motion to approve PFA Architects to create designs for the physical education expansion plans for both Tuscola High School and Pisgah High School. This motion is to begin the discussion around the design, not to actually build or approve funds at this time.
Okay, we have a motion from Dr. Rogers. Second, Mr. Nesbit. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That was very quick. Thank you very much for the hard work of the Building and Grounds Committee. All right, next we have Mr. Clark from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to bring the monthly reports. Finance Committee went over everything earlier, all the school reports, everything looks good. I want to bring it to a motion to approve the monthly financial reports.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Clark. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Chair, Mr. Henson. Any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anything else from the Finance Committee, Mr. Clark?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the hard work of the Finance Committee. Next, we have a request from Ms. Barker.
Chairman Francis, members of the board, one more waiver request, classroom waiver. We have, I know, this is the third. We have a lot of our students coming back to in-person instruction. So because we have remote sections and in-person sections, that has created an overage. This one is at Riverbend Elementary in 2nd grade. So I would ask for your approval for this pursuant to General Statute 115C.
Okay.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Rogers made the motion. Do I hear a second? Mr. Burnett has made the second to the motion for the
Good to see
class
him
size waiver. So, any question or discussion on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barker. Now we have Dr. Nolte with our personnel.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, at this time I bring to you the personnel that was shared earlier in closed session. For your information, we have 12 separation of employment and 3 leave of absence. For your approval, we have 9 employments, 34 employee status changes, 4 substitutes, 2 non-employee coaches, 1 volunteer services, and 1 contract.
I hear a motion to approve
Make
the
a motion, we approve personnel.
Second.
Mr. Henson's made the motion, seconded by Dr. Rogers, to approve the personnel as presented. Are there any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, at this time, I would like to introduce the new principal at Riverbend Elementary School. While Ms. Carly Wells is coming up, Mr. Connor sends his apologies for not being here in person. He's been on his way to a state golf championship, but he did dial in remotely.
That's good.
So we're going to give him the courtesy of saying a couple things.
Absolutely.
All right, hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
All right, Mr. Francis, members of the board, Dr. Bill, Dr. Putnam, and Ms. Barker, you're going to get the Clint version 2.0 because I'm driving down the road with no notes. But I'm just thrilled tonight to get to introduce Ms. Carly Wells as the new Riverbend principal. I've got the fortunate to work with her over the last couple of years as an AP and a teacher. She's just a very unique person. I know probably Alma Wells and Kevin Wells is sitting in the audience tonight, and my hat's off, a tribute to you on raising such a wonderful daughter. She never fails. You do not have to question her work ethic, and I know that that is a strong representation of both of you. And to the Riverbend staff, you're getting a gem, just a very unique and rare person that is kind, thoughtful, hardworking, and it's always about the kids. And Carly, if you're listening to me, you'll be missed around our table with Casey and Amanda and myself and Charlie. That's very hard to replace someone like you, but we'll do our best. and you'll be missed. And we love you very, very much. We know you'll do great things, and I'm just so an honor to get to work with people like yourself, Carly, and I'll never take that for granted. But I appreciate that very, very, very much what you did at Pisgah High School, and I know you'll continue. Dr. Bill, I do want to add one thing. You called me in regards to a reference, and you said, is there anything that I need to be worried about in regards to Carly Wells? And the one thing that came to my mind is never pay that girl hourly. She will crush your bank account. So I'm just super proud, and it's an honor, Carly. Great job. I'm getting off here. Bye.
Thank you, Clint, for saying everything that I was going to say. Board, we're very fortunate right now to have built a cadre of aspiring administrators who can move into AP roles and other roles, director roles, and assistant principals who can move into principal roles. We've worked very hard for that, and you saw an example of that this morning. We had a number of very good applicants, but without hesitation, Carly Wells is the person for Riverbend Elementary School. I have known her and her family since she was a little student down at Bethel Elementary School, and I got to be the principal there. She is smart. She is competitive in sort of a good way. She works day and night, and I hope that she will take a little time to regroup or work in the garden or do something like that. I don't know where she got that, maybe from her parents, I don't know. She can do just about everything, and I've never seen her do anything poorly. And I've known her a really long time, and that's from helping with recruiting and doing observations and having a good gut feel for who to hire. She has those traits. Very smart. She uses data. She doesn't make decisions flippantly. She has student data, and she helps the folks at Pisgah with staff data. She's even managed the buses and knows about transportation. So it is my honor and privilege to present to you the new principal at Riverbend Elementary School, Carly Wells.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nolte, Dr. Putnam, and Ms. Barker, I would like to start by extending my thanks to you for giving me this opportunity and wholeheartedly believing in me. Dr. Nolte and Ms. Barker, my former principals, as you just said, from when I started my journey as Haywood County in the Haywood County schools, I would like to thank you guys for sparking my love of learning as a young child. Mr. Connor, who gave me my first job at Clyde and my assistant principal job position at Pisgah. I thank him for believing in me and his constant support and guidance throughout my career. To my Clyde and my Pisgah family, thank you for your never-ending support and pouring your love into me. I have truly been surrounded by the best colleagues that one could imagine. They have given me the confidence and support to stand here today. To my family, from a young age, you gave me the courage to follow my dreams, the strength to have faith in myself and others, and have been my biggest cheerleaders in every phase of life. I can't thank you guys enough. Lastly, but definitely not least, I'd like to thank God. He continually gives me strength and gives me the blessing of abundance of people that surround me along my path and continue to love and support me. Years ago, I left home as a product of Haywood County Schools to gain the education that I needed to pursue my dreams of returning to Haywood County to teach elementary children. My dreams came true when I was given the opportunity to teach 5th grade at Clyde Elementary School. I was blessed to have two incredible leaders, Mr. Connor and Mr. Burnett. They both believed in me and grew me as a leader. I'm standing here today because of all that Haywood County Schools has invested in me as a student, a teacher, assistant principal, and a leader. I'm elated that I get the opportunity to continue to give back to the Haywood County school system that's poured so much into me. Riverbend is a nationally renowned school, and I'm just so honored to get to be a part of something so special. joining those community, the families, the staff, and the students that have worked so hard to make Riverbend what it is today is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm blessed to be a part of the Riverbend family, and I can't wait to meet each and every one of them. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Carly, and congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, Dr. Putnam has someone to introduce.
Mr. Chairman and Board, it's my distinct honor to represent introduce our new Transportation Director. We went through a pretty exhaustive interview process. I went up and met with the Transportation Department, and they set some pretty high marks for what they would like to see in a leader and director in their department. They acknowledged the good that Mark Shepard has done, his tutelage there, what he has done to develop a team, what he has done to develop value and importance placed on that department and the folks who work in it, what he has done to develop and establish a pay structure. And they said there are just a few things that they would like to see continue on amongst all of those. Number one, they wanted someone who was one of them. They wanted their guy, their gal, whoever it might be, they wanted them to be all things transportation. And number two, they said they wanted somebody who would roll up their sleeves and hop right in there and work and get the job done with them. Wasn't above any job they were asked to do. So with all of that said, our selection, and A.C. Sprinkle actually, he's been a transportation director, and he's our current shop foreman, said without a doubt our selection needs to be Stephen Sharp. Stephen has been with us for 13 years working in Haywood. He went through the hard way, I guess you'd say. It wasn't fresh out of school. He worked some jobs, worked himself through college, and worked his way into education via Haywood Christian Academy and then Haywood County Schools. He has driven a bus. He has taught in a classroom. And he tells us that the first thing he likes to do when school's out is to find a job site or tinker with a car. So I think given the description our transportation department provided us, there could be no better candidate than Stephen Sharp. Stephen?
First off, I want to say thanks to God for the opportunity to stand in this position, and I appreciate the support from my family and everybody I got, and thanks for the opportunity. I plan on rolling up my sleeves, and just to be real, don't expect to see me in a tie lot because I don't plan on working on cars in a tie. But I'm just super excited to continue the stellar transportation system we got, and I hope we can find ways to improve it. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. We've had a lot of good things happen tonight, and I know that we've got our school system in great hands. We really do. And we're lucky to be in Haywood County, I can tell you that. We got great people. If there's nothing else to come before the board, meeting adjourned.